was the first game where you played as the bad guy?
First game where you play as the bad guy.
Donkey
So
Kong
there's
Jr.?
Jaws.
No, you don't play as the bad guy in Donkey Kong.
Well, then it's Donkey Kong because
No.
Mario's the bad guy. In
Yeah.
Mario, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say Wario Land.
Jaws on the
Then that's,
Game Boy.
you know.
Jaws on the NES.
You don't play as.
You play as the shark.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You kill the shark in the NES, but there's probably a game in which you play as the shark. On the
Yeah.
NES,
Well,
you're
there
a
was-
diver, a tiny diver,
Yeah.
and there's
And
like
then you're
jellyfish
also
and
the
shit.
boat.
And then you're the boat, and you stab Jaws in the end with the boat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is based on a Jaws movie I've never seen. Maybe Jaws 5. Is there a Jaws 5?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's 5.
There's 3D.
Wait. They made 5 Jaws movies.
Was 3D the third one?
3D
Yeah.
is the third one.
Yeah, the 3 is right there in the title.
Then there's
Doesn't mean shit.
Then there's the one about Baby Jaws,
That's 4 with the dolphins.
Jaws.
Son of Jaws.
That was just Jaws: The Revenge.
Jaws 2 is the SeaWorld one.
Okay.
And I think you might
That
be
one's
mistaken. I
amazing.
don't know that there was a 5th
I
Jaws.
think there is.
It's the NES game.
Oh, that's just
Canonically.
canonically. Okay, here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis, Sam Claiborne,
Scoopy Scoops.
and Zach Ryan.
Scoop.
And we have a great show for you this week. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. We're going to discuss the PlayStation 4's next sales milestone. It's almost definitely going to hit this year. Lots of cool Nintendo Switch updates to talk about this week. But first, Sam, congratulations.
You're welcome.
You've
What? What?
Sam has entered a very exclusive club. He's become a member of a very exclusive club this
Oh,
week.
yes. That's
I
true.
saw Bigfoot.
He's, well, no, not actually.
Okay, I don't know where you're going then.
We saw Bigfoot in the trailer for the hit game Bigfoot, but then we played around and we never actually saw Bigfoot. Although no one has been able to explain what happened to that meat.
Someone ate our meat.
It was
No,
Bigfoot.
I'm congratulating Sam because he beat Red Dead Redemption 2, and I feel like very few
Wow.
people have actually done that
No
because
one's
it's
done-
so long.
It never
Yeah.
ends.
Then you are welcome. You beat it.
I did it, yeah, before
Okay.
you.
Well, that's funny.
That's-
Let's all congratulate Damon.
Two out of 5 people in the whole world that beat Red Dead right here on this panel.
Yeah,
It's
we are
amazing.
counting. There's a very few people in the office that have beat it. Lucy, Tina, obviously
Destin.
the reviewer. Yeah,
Yeah.
Destin beat it. So, yeah,
Or was it Omega Man that beat it? It might have been Omega Man.
might have been.
I gave
I
up
don't know
the
why I
Ghost.
thought Destin.
I gave it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin
I
did too.
threw in the towel.
And then I beat Assassin's Creed, which is another game that like no one ever
that's
actually
crazy you beat that.
finishes.
Yeah. No, I'm at like 55 hours in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't think I'm anywhere near completing.
Yeah,
the story.
I told Damon earlier this week that every time I've jumped on my PS4 to do anything, I see him online playing Assassin's Creed. I got back into it recently too, and that game is top notch.
So Red Dead has some gameplay problems, and
Yeah.
it probably is
Yeah,
not as
the
fun
problem
as
is
some
that it's
other
boring.
games.
Yeah,
But I think it's a generationally important game and one of the best pieces of art humans have ever made.
I think you're.
But only,
you-
but
yeah.
only because of the parts that work in it. And
Take
the parts
that,
that don't
Mona
work
Lisa.
Are many. But having a virtual world that looks like that is one of the most amazing things I've ever
yeah,
seen. in my entire
It is
life.
very impressive. It's just the actual act of playing the game is not fun to me. Like I actually.
There's parts I like hunting.
When I decided that I was like done with the game, I just had Tina spoil the whole game for me. I was like, just tell me what happens. And
Yeah.
her describing the rest of the plot from where I left off, I was like, ooh, maybe I should see that
There
through
was
because
some
that's
cool
pretty
stuff.
amazing. Yeah.
I felt compelled to see the story through to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, like jumping back into Assassin's Creed is so much more fun in a traditional
it's so
video game.
gamey.
Yeah.
You're just it's like a Wonder Woman simulator. It's amazing.
There's some like
Yeah.
really touching moments, which I
Yeah.
don't think of at all when I think of video games, which I like.
Yeah.
And then there's just so many characters to love. And I ended up liking Arthur a lot. But Sadie is like one of my favorite characters in games ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think she becomes like really funny and charismatic to watch on camera. And they just seem like actors, It's a really well acted game.
It's incredibly well acted.
Yeah,
and that really struck out to me too. I'm with Zach. I sort of gave up on the game. I'm like, I'm not having enough fun playing this, but I absolutely give it credit for the way these characters are written and the way that script is executed by that voice cast is there's never been anything like it.
Yeah. So I'm in a pickle because I wouldn't recommend it to most people, but I can figure out the people probably that I'd recommend it to from here on out.
I mean, there are a lot of people out there that play video games for the story.
Yeah,
For sure.
certainly.
Yeah, and you can. That's what's interesting. There's no real level progression or anything. Just play through the chapters and you can.
Yeah.
It's like, and I don't think the open world was as fun as it should have been. But man, what's there is like I don't know how people made that game. Like I'm
It is
With
really
computers.
personally interested in how that team put together so many hours of dialogue where they're shouting sometimes if you're away from the horse and they're talking normally if you're near it, and they recorded both those.
Well, there's all these instances too that happen in that game that are just so unbelievably nuanced that I forget who was telling me about it, but they they were in a theater watching a play or a movie or something in the game, and they opened a can of beans because they thought it would be fun. It's probably Max. It sounds like something Max would do, and one of the characters in the theater just stands up and goes, "This guy's eating beans." It's like, why would you script that? Like, what on earth would like prompt you to do that?
I think that was on Twitter, and I think that may have been a joke.
Okay.
That may not actually be real.
Really?
It's good.
Well, but
I would
the
believe
fact
it
that
if
the
it
game's so
were.
amazing and reactive to what you do is like the fact that we don't even know for sure.
Wow, we really
you
took the
can
wind out of my
hear
sails there,
enough
Justin.
at a play that you do interrupt it and make it go off the rails. I went to a talkie. Did you go to a talkie?
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do that? There's like
Yeah, I
a
saw one movie. Yeah,
I saw a cartoon with Abigail at one point, which is really cool.
I got a photo taken with Abigail, but
Yeah.
don't worry, Sam. You'll find out all about how Red Dead Redemption 2 was made in 20 years at its classic gaming postmort at GDC.
Yeah, greatly. That's a really good point.
Looking forward to
All
it.
right.
Looking forward to
2040.
2039. Yeah,
We'll take our jetpacks to GDC.
Yeah, surely
Spoiler.
by then you can jet 5 blocks.
Yeah.
I just want the tubes from Futurama.
The tubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get in a clear tube and then you just get put out somewhere.
Elon Musk is doing his best.
Yeah. He's
He's
tube
doing
crazy.
He's doing something.
He's sending tubes to space. He's putting tubes underground.
Yep.
He's just tube crazy.
That reminds me of the Jetsons. Do you have the Jetsons NES game?
No, I don't think it's that's a pretty rare game.
It's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know.
That and the 2 Flintstones games are supposed to be pretty good.
Well, the second Flintstones game is one of the rarest NES games. It's like hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
Do you own
Rise
that?
of Dinosaur Peak?
Do you own that?
No.
What's the surprise?
Anybody out there has
Dinosaurs.
it.
There they are.
All right, you jokers, let's get on track here. The PlayStation 4 is currently sitting at 91.6 million units sold.
That's so amazing.
Sony announced this week it's currently the 4th best-selling console of all time.
Yep.
And I believe this year it will become the 3rd best-selling console of all time when it leapfrogs the Wii, which is at 101.6. So it's currently 10 million units behind the Wii.
It will
What's the total number
absolutely-
it'll be at?
What do you mean?
What's the total number of sales that it's at right now that you
Right now it's at 91.6.
and it needs to beat?
It needs to be 101.
101.6.
They can sell 8 million more this year.
That's
Well, they'd
maybe
have to sell 10 million.
and
Whatever.
Yeah.
But yes, they can do that too, I think.
Yeah.
It's 91 times as popular as the CDI, which isn't that much.
You don't think so? You thought it would be more than 91 times more popular than the CDI.
Yeah.
The 3DO is not even on that list, you notice. How many copies did the 3DO sell?
Yeah. Probably 90 million.
I think this is significant because the Wii seemed to be such a much more like culturally significant phenomenon in the mainstream, right?
The PS4, I mean, its success is unbelievable, and Sony's right to sort of crow about it a little bit. But it does come with kind of the asterisk of there's the PS4 and the PS4 Pro.
I wanted to point that out, yeah.
So a lot of people bought two. So
Those
if
numbers
there's
do add to the total.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
and so if there's 100 million Wii's sold, it's sort of in 100 million households, or maybe there's some households that have two with the kids and the adults having a Wii. But the PS4 is probably more likely to have been purchased twice.
That's true.
I'm absolutely certain that it would surpass that within the course of the next year. I think that we're probably going to see a pretty significant price drop in both models, and that will bolster sales like through the roof. So you're coming up at the end of that system's life cycle. There are so many awesome PS4 exclusives that if they do a price cut, people are going to jump in and play God of War, Bloodborne, Spider-Man.
It doesn't seem weird to you that there was never that cultural moment that the Wii had where like it was on the morning talk shows and grandma played it and stuff?
I don't, because even in the time since the Wii was this cultural phenomenon, gaming is so much more widely accepted and so much more like a much.
You think it's come that far even?
It's a much more ubiquitous hobby than it was when the Wii was first launched. So.
It must be, right?
Yeah.
I
The
mean, that's what
PS4 has
numbers
just
say.
enjoyed being in, leading the race since the beginning. Since the moment that the Xbox came out, it was in first place, and it's never, there's been some like the Xbox One X is a little bit more powerful, better console than the PS4 Pro. So there's some like give and take there, but Sony hasn't had any major stumbles or any major screw ups. They've just sort of kept, building,
I don't know. I would say that they've had some pretty major stumbles and screw ups.
but not with the PS4.
The idea that you can't crossplay with other consoles is like a huge. That's a huge deal, and like they finally walked that back. But like that in and of itself, maybe not something that would hinder sales, but like I don't know. That seems like a pretty arrogant thing to be like, oh yeah, we don't play well with others.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Maybe they're just making up that number too. We have no way to know.
No, it's based on.
You think Sony just gets out there and is like 91?
Well, in the end, like we have things like MPD to tell us how many systems it sold in the United States, and there's sources for some of that other stuff.
Yeah,
I think
we
they're a
rely
publicly
on
traded
their-
company there.
Yep, they have to. It would be illegal for them to lie about it.
So let's assume
Surely a
they're
company
not.
would never break the law.
Yeah. It is weird to rely on internal numbers from a company who needs to have internally high numbers.
You end up doing this weird, cross-referencing where sometimes you get a figure on like here's how many have sold through to people's homes and are in people's homes, and other times you get stats on like here's how many we've sold into retailers, and like sometimes they don't match. And
Sony's clarified
is a weird
that
thing.
this is sold through.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The Xbox One is a little bit murkier because the Microsoft hasn't been releasing exact sales numbers, but it's estimated at 39 million. Xbox One. My question is,
way behind.
can it top the Super Nintendo at 49 million? Can the Xbox One sell 10 million more units?
Yeah, it's got
Lights
some
are going
time.
crazy in
Yeah.
here.
I think it'll happen.
It's ghosts.
We talked about this earlier, but the Super Nintendo number seems so low to me.
Think so?
Yeah, but the Nintendo number seems the lowest.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get it, man. Like, I just feel like those are some of the. Well, I feel like the NES was the most popular system in my lifetime, but it wasn't.
60 million NES.
62 million.
It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like
Gaming's just bigger.
Yeah, gaming is just way
maybe
bigger,
it's like-
more prevalent.
There's more people on the earth.
Yeah, that
is
too.
that, and if the NES was primarily popular with kids, and now gaming is popular with kids and adults who grew up with gaming, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah,
just a bigger pool of people.
I think the PS4 will never ever catch the PS2.
I don't know anything.
I don't think anything
ever will.
catch the PS2.
100,
Been peak game sales.
155 million units.
Now, when do we
Absolutely
think?
unbelievable. I wonder, I know you have some notes there, but you don't happen to know. I think a huge portion of those PS2 sales came when that console got very cheap, right? Like,
Well, sure.
that was the.
There's like a
game,
magic moment when a console drops below $200,
and it just goes completely
And
crazy.
it had to do with the disc-based DVD, or DVD.
It was a DVD player, sure.
And it was just such a big deal to have a DVD
That was
player.
part of the reason how I sold my parents on getting a PlayStation.
It was
2.
so many kids' DVD player that they had in their room or
Yeah.
in your house.
So the way that would happen again is if the most popular console on Earth is also the most popular phone on Earth. Like that could
Or-
happen again, or VR or something
Or
like that.
they put a DVD player in the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
why
just
didn't
a
they
standard
ever-
one.
Why didn't they think of that?
It's probably in there, but it's disabled in software.
Wow. Bummer.
After the PS4 surpasses the Wii, it'll surpass the PS1, which sold 102 million units.
Wow, that's so
102
close.
million units
Yeah.
for a PS1. And I wanted to point out, remember last week when we were reading through Next Generation, January 1996, Next Generation magazine, all the talk was between PlayStation and Sega Saturn. It was like a big war going on right at that time.
gosh.
Dude, the Sega Saturn sold 9 million
Oh
units.
boy.
Rip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Is
guys?
do you think that's the lowest selling Sega console? Do you think Dreamcast must have
No,
sold more?
Dreamcast sold a little bit less
That hurts.
than the Sega
You guys
Saturn.
know what the top selling system of all time is? That's not by the big three, because I looked at these numbers earlier.
Yeah, it's a 3DO.
Wait. Not by the big three. So you're
This is
including like,
obvious, but I have a follow up.
is it an Atari console?
No,
Then that's
Is it
not
Turbo Graphics?
obvious
Can't
to
be.
me.
no, it's the
TurboGrafx.
Sega Genesis.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that makes sense.
yeah. But
All right.
I guess, but there was a time where I would have considered them like
yeah,
part of the
Yeah.
big
totally.
three. Yeah.
So what's the top one that's not part of the big four?
It's got to be an Atari one. Then.
Got to be.
It's the VCS, the
Yeah,
Atari
the
VCS.
original
did that
Atari,
well.
yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean that's great. That was like a phenomenon at the time.
And then it goes way down to the TurboGrafx.
I would have guessed
That's
CDI.
like, 15 million or
I
something.
know the 5200's way low on the list.
Yeah, it was the lowest, right?
Yeah.
Less than a million.
Anyway, PS4 sales watch 2019. Let's I think sometime after E3 it should
Let's-
leapfrog over the Wii.
I was gonna say let's take bets on when we think this will surpass, when we think it'll cross this line. I'm going to say like.
And take into account that all
million
things could
units.
end before that.
You think the end of the world is coming before?
Just take that
just
into
keep
account.
that just keep that in
Keep an
mind.
open mind.
Fair point. Hadn't considered that. I bet you it does it before. Well, I guess I measure my year in terms of like tentpole events. I was gonna say before Comic-Con, so that would be after E3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a big game release date. We only have Days Gone, which isn't, sorry, Days Gone. It's not on the level of like Last of Us Part 2, right?
I think Black Friday sends it over.
Yeah, maybe.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, maybe this holiday season. Let's move on to Nintendo Switch. Lots of interesting Nintendo Switch news to go over this week. Lots of new and older game announcements. We got a sort of surprise release date for Yoshi's Crafted World.
Just tweeted it out.
Yep.
So
Been working on that story
He's
for
crafty.
2 years.
Yeah.
And they just
Also,
tweeted
like,
it out.
I wanted to ask you guys, don't you think it's weird that they didn't do a direct for that?
I think it's a little weird.
Why did they just announce all those dates and tweets?
Twitter.
Well, I mean, it's not like it was giant news, right? Like it's Dragon's Dogma and Yoshi's
spoilers.
Crafted World, but yeah, I mean, they may have been sort of kicking around the idea of having a direct and then saying, "Nah."
We've traditionally got a direct in January, so it seems odd that they wouldn't do one.
I think to me, the fact that we did get some news just dropped on Twitter indicates that they probably, for whatever reason, decided not to do that direct,
They might know about the end of the world.
or they might know the end times are
Are
coming.
you all right today?
Yeah, you're feeling a little.
No,
You're fast and loose with the goofs.
And you haven't even watched Bird Box yet.
That's true.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I watched it last night. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was a big bowl of fine.
Did you
think it's
it
a
was
little- I
too
think it's-
scary?
No, definitely. Yeah, I watched the whole thing like this.
I think it's better than fine. Obviously, it's not as good as A Quiet Place.
I was gonna say
Sort of
I
like
liked it better
most
when they
directly
called that
compared
movie A
to.
Quiet Place. Yeah.
A Quiet Place is obviously better, but I think Bird Box is like a totally solid way to spend a Wednesday evening
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Why not?
Anyway, Yoshi's Crafted World. How are you guys feeling about this game? Did
Dude,
you go-
I'm so stoked for Yoshi. I love the Yoshi.
did you like
games.
his woolly world?
I did.
The world of wool?
Yeah, I
100% that. I hear that's really hard.
I did not 100% it, but I played a lot of the late stage levels that are really tough.
That's good that those.
I played it on Wii U and I played it on 3DS. That's how much I liked that game.
The Yoshi games have always gotten secretly hard at the end.
Yeah. I mean that's Nintendo's secret with New Super Mario Brothers, Kirby and Yoshi is that if you want to play through those games and play all the levels, that's great. You can do that. It's very easy. But if you want to find all the collectibles and 100% each of those games, it's very challenging platforming.
Do you know these games aren't actually developed by Nintendo?
Yes, that's true.
You didn't. I didn't know that. News to me. Who made them? Smart guy.
Capcom.
Not Capcom.
Sony.
Is it?
But
well,
a company started by a former Konami employee.
Does it begin with an R?
Nope.
Kojima Studios.
Yep.
Wow.
Kojima Productions. How do you think they're funding Death Stranding? Now, Good Feel is the name of the developer, and they've done Wario Land Shake It, Kirby's Epic Yarn, Yoshi's Woolly World. Yeah, and I think the other one. Yeah,
Wario Land
one's
Shake
Crafted
It is a Wii game platformer.
But they didn't do the Kirby game, Kirby All Stars.
is that the one that came out
The one that
last
came
year?
out on Switch.
I don't think so.
Interesting.
Yoshi.
Or Robobot.
The thing that the thing that concerns me about this game is that I've watched like that. There's like a 30-minute play, I think,
Yeah.
from like E3 or something,
Right.
And it's a lot of like walking left to right. And I really like the games that have the Y-axis from the Mario teams. I don't like it when it's like super flat against the ground. Now it does have background stuff. You can throw stuff. in
Yeah,
the
I feel like
background.
it might be a shallow y-axis, but I do feel like it's there. And
I hope it's there because
the draw to this game is a lot of the levels, if not all of them, you play forwards and backwards and see different things from different angles and can do different stuff. On the flip side of that, like I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, that's what I was saying about the background stuff. There's like, yeah, the flipping is neat, and then like you can throw eggs into the screen, which is new.
Yeah, one thing that I really love is in that same walkthrough is you see a can of like cookies, and then when you play
Can
on
of cookies.
then when you play on the backside, you see the nutrition information for the cookies, which I think is very clever.
I don't want my cookies in a can though.
I don't know, it's like they're like Pringles but with chocolate chips.
Okay.
You know what would have been the perfect platform for this? Virtual Boy.
Get out of here.
That's true, actually. Your
The
goof made me
number
forget
one
what I was gonna
selling
say.
console of
Yeah,
all
that
time.
wasn't even on the list.
It wasn't on the list.
Do you think it sold 100,000 units?
Yeah.
I think it sold
Unbelievable. that
100,000 bottles of Advil.
That's an actual thing that Nintendo did and released.
It's true. So you liked Yoshi's Woolly World, Zach. Do you think that, now that we're getting Crafted World, will Woolly World ever be ported to the Switch?
I don't know. They certainly like their Wii U ports over there, don't they?
They do.
But we've already seen Woolly World come to 3DS. But they seem to be in the business of putting all their games on everything these days. You know, Luigi's Mansion. Well, yeah, there's some big discrepancies there,
Not
but
their
you know,
Super Nintendo? Or,
yeah, Luigi's Mansion came to 3DS. You know, Kirby's Epic Yarn is coming to 3DS. So like they're mixing and matching a little bit, but I don't know. They've already re-released that game once. I don't know that they would do it twice.
True. All right, this week we also found out that Dragon's Dogma is coming to the Switch, which may seem a little random, but I think it's cool. I think that game was a pretty cool game.
Yeah.
Released by
Should look
Capcom.
good smashed down to that screen.
Open world action RPG.
Our reviewer called it a mix of Dark Souls and Shadow of the Colossus.
Sounds great.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I know. When
Yeah.
Gave it a
say it that
7.9
way.
though.
We gave it a 7.5.
She said it wasn't as good as either of those games.
Originally in 2012, but then Capcom sort of like refreshed it and updated it with the Dark Arisen release in 2013. We gave the console version of that a 7.9, but the
that's what
PC
it was.
version an 8.9.
Ah,
So that's pretty
cool.
nice. All told, Dragon's Dogma and Dark Arisen has sold 3.4 million copies already.
Wow.
Which ties it with Street Fighter 4 as Capcom's 14th best-selling game of all time.
I love how transparent Capcom is with their stats.
Me
It's really
too.
great.
Yep.
Dragon's Dogma has been on my Steam backlog for years. Maybe I'll
a
get to
game-
it now that I'm done with Assassin's Creed. Maybe I'll just try it out.
It's a game that's been recommended to me several times. Like people that have played it and know my taste in games have been like, "You'd really enjoy this game." So I'm stoked that it's coming to the Switch because that seems like a perfect platform to me.
Yeah, I like it how it's like it's combat focused and it has the open world RPG stuff. It's not too open, but
Let's not forget about all those dragons too.
the dragons look good and there's
about
like
the dogma?
hydras and stuff too.
I don't think, no, you're going to be disappointed.
That's not what dogma means.
No. Since Capcom has basically ported this game to everything now, I'd have to imagine there's a Dragon's Dogma 2 in development. Like why, or
I mean,
else why?
2013.
Yeah, if
like
you
that was
would've
a
said that-
long time ago
I mean,
for
that's-
them to
yeah.
bring this back.
And that's the bumped one, right?
That's the improved one, Dark
That's the
Arisen.
improved one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
I
sequel announcements imminent.
this team seems to
I
me
feel
they're
like
like
this is-
committed to this
Yeah.
IP or whatever.
I feel like this is a recurring conversation when we get, especially in light of the Switch, when we get ports or like updates to games on Switch. It means, you know what that means? Sequel's coming, or this other game is coming. It's kind of a slippery slope. Like I don't necessarily know that it means that a sequel is coming. I think it's just an audience that wasn't exposed to Dragon's Dogma in the first place.
So you think
Scalebound confirmed.
Sam,
Scalebound is coming back?
Sam,
Scalebound's
how dare
back.
you?
Well, coming much sooner than either Yoshi's Crafted World or Dragon's Dogma to the Switch are Blaster Master and Zelda 2, because they're being added to the Nintendo Switch Online this month. And those are both really good games.
Yeah, Blaster Master has one of my favorite cheats ever, which is similar to Mega Man 2, where you can pause the game on a boss. You throw a grenade, and then you pause the game, and while the game's paused, it does damage because it like freezes the damaged state.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Like they just built the pause so jankily.
Blaster Master also has a great ending screen. When you beat the game, it says, "Very thanks."
Yeah. I said this on voice chat this week, but Blaster Master also has like a banging soundtrack.
Ooh, it's so good.
really good.
It's really, really good. No, like legitimately, Blaster Master is one of the NES games that holds up really well.
Yeah.
It's just like a fun action exploration game.
I love the
There's-
two modes of it, like exploring and
Exploration and tank
Side-scrolling
stuff,
and
yeah.
top
There's
down.
some parallel universe where like Blaster Master is now seen as like, Castlevania or Mega Man is in our universe, where like it's just odd that like back then it was like that good, but for whatever reason,
Oster and Nintendo Power.
it just didn't carry through. To
It has
the
really big
modern age.
boss sprites in it. They're really impressive at the time.
Blaster
Yeah, and
Master
there
stuff.
was never a sequel then. There was that Wii one much later, but like it's just weird.
Well,
that it didn't
We got the
There was
There's a
Blaster Master
PlayStation
Zero.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
so-
the launch of the Switch. No.
Blaster Master
Oh,
Zero
yeah,
launched with the Switch, and it's actually also good and
really
very,
good.
very similar to the original game, made by the guys that did Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. That's why they do that good retro stuff.
Cool.
And there was a Blaster Master on Game Boy Color, I want to say.
That's what I was trying to think of. If it's not PlayStation, then it's Game
There
Boy,
was
'cause that's
Blaster Master Boy on the Game Boy, but it just seems like a Bomberman game that
I
they're
feel like they really
"Ah,
missed
let's
the
just make
opportunity
this,
to just call that Blaster Boy.
Blaster Boy, yeah. And there was actually a Blaster Master game on the PlayStation 1 when it went
Okay,
into
so
like
there's
3D.
okay. Is Blaster Master Hudson?
Sunsoft. Which
Sunsoft,
you
okay.
asked
Well,
me,
that's not-
whatever happened to Sunsoft?
Yeah.
They tweeted out this week that Blaster Master is coming. So there's an active like Sunsoft Twitter account. At least.
That's really cool. Sunsoft at one point had the license to all the Looney Tunes characters, and they just made a bunch of Looney Tunes games. That was like at their height, from what I can remember. And they made Batman, which is cool.
Yeah, they made a Superman game too.
That makes sense.
was
It's
never
all
released.
Warner Brothers, right?
Sunsoft was
Superman game that wasn't released,
Yeah, or it was ported to.
changed to something else.
Yeah, it was
right?
changed to something else. Yeah.
That's really neat.
And then there's Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. A very unusual Zelda game, but a game that I think was really cool.
You read the Kotaku interview about that?
Like a recent one, or
It might not be. It was Stephen Totilo was interviewing Miyamoto, and he. I don't know how they got on the topic, but it was like, "Have you ever made a bad game?" And he was like, he brought up Zelda 2, and he's like, "I wouldn't call it bad," but Miyamoto just goes into detail about his regrets on that game and how he would have liked to have done more, and they weren't able to quite accomplish with Zelda 2 what they wanted. It's really fascinating.
It is a very interesting case where Zelda 1 and 2 came out in Japan less than a year apart. So I just want to, it's like so different from the original game. I want to know, like, what was the line of thinking where they were like, all right, Zelda's a big hit. We need to fast track a sequel, but it needs to be totally different.
Yeah.
Like what were they thinking at the time? I wonder.
Bizarre.
It sounds like, and I'm paraphrasing the interview now, I encourage you to all go look it up, but Miyamoto is basically saying they wanted the transition from overhead to side view to happen a lot faster and have that be a mechanic where it was used a lot more widely, where you were sort of switching back and forth between the views, but the NES stopped them from being able to do that.
I beat it for the first time a couple years ago. I've probably told the story before. I really liked it, but you need to use save states, and you need to have Jared Petty nearby to just answer questions and get you through.
Also, I
Which
think
he's probably very happy to do if you just look at him.
Also, he's probably nearby if you really think about it. Like, he's always around. Yeah.
Anytime you bring up what's the game coming to the Japanese?
Joy Mecha Fight.
If you say Joy Mecha Fight into your mirror 3 times, Jared Petty just appears.
Ooh, but I had a great time playing it because it has so much that Zelda is now is based on that game. And if you just skip it, you're never going to know that.
Also, I think your enjoyment of that game is greatly enhanced, as it was at the time, by reading the instruction manual and the player's guide that came from Nintendo Power, because it just has all this cool art
need a guide.
and like explanations of stuff, and it sort of like makes the world feel a little bit more
That's a really
vibrant.
good point. There was actually it was like just like Earthbound that came with a guide. The guide, like that player's guide, like accompanies the game. Like it looks good.
It's really cool.
And it kind of like says like when you're in the desert, like this is what it looks like.
And you can find scans of those online. So,
imagination.
Only Zelda game I've never finished. Well,
The
not
ending is
I've not
really cool.
played the CDI game.
Those don't count.
But yeah.
The
but all
ending is
like Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I never finished either one of those.
Same.
I did.
Yeah. Took a lot to finish those games, but I did it.
Boy, I do not care for Phantom Hourglass.
Phantom Hourglass is not good.
I think Spirit Tracks is a big improvement. Over
Yeah,
it.
I agree.
Me too.
Spirit Tracks is secretly good. That's like the best Zelda game nobody's played.
I really like that game a lot. I did the guide for that one, so I did get these. There's like 100 bunnies hidden in it, and you have to take the train around and like shoot this cannon at the bunnies, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
I
and
actually
you
really
can
like
you can honk that
Cap's
train's
good.
horn anytime you want to.
Toot toot.
Wait, but you even finished Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages?
Yeah.
I've done those.
Those are great.
I
One of
finished
them.
I finished both of those on 3DS when they came to 3DS. When they
I don't
came
think
to
I've
eShop.
ever
Those are
played
so good.
Yeah.
Highly
I finished one of them on Game Boy Color, and then I went back and finished the other one when it came to 3DS.
Yeah, I think they're better than Minish Cap, but
How dare you?
is that your game?
I love Minish Cap. It's not my favorite Zelda game, but I think it's a really good one.
I love the look of Minish Cap. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just got a really nice little pixel art style to it.
We finally bought, I know I'm years behind, but I finally got Hyrule Historia. Book's
Cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
I have 3 giant Zelda encyclopedia books now, and every time I look over at my bookshelf, I'm like, God, I'm just a real dork.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, it's got good art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just there was a time in which there was nothing
Yeah.
ever written about Zelda
Yeah.
for 2 decades, and then now we're like, flushing it. It's great.
And it's also like Link's art was like, he was such a doof in the 80s, and like just to see that evolution is really fascinating as well.
There are also some fun games coming to Switch this week, like Sega's Outrun. The original arcade game is there. I love how the very first thing you do when starting a new game is select your radio station.
Yeah.
So you select your tunes for going on your ride.
Famously described, it's not a racing game, it's a driving game.
Just a driving game. Because you're just trying to get to the checkpoint.
Yeah, it's just nice.
And trying not to flip your car in the most like violent way
million
possible. I also want to give a shout out to Pang Adventures, which is out now. Pang is an old arcade game, which Sam I wasn't even aware of at the time.
Yeah.
They made
In the 90s. That's not my zone.
Yeah, okay. They made Pang, they made Super Pang, they went up to Pang 3 even. And it's where
Super Pang.
Yeah, it's where you're a character at the bottom of the screen and there are these big bouncing balls and you have to shoot them with a grappling hook and each time you shoot them they split into smaller balls. It's Pang. Pang Adventures is out now. I'll be playing that. And also, there's this game out this week called Cave Blazers. Are you familiar with this one?
No.
It's a pixel art roguelike game
Whoa.
endorsed by former IGN editor Peter Eichmanns.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love Peter.
Yeah, he says it's great. So I was like, yeah, he says it's like the next best thing to like waiting for Splunky 2. So, all right.
Well, I
Cave
love
Blazers.
caves and blazers.
Yeah, that's true.
So
It's on brand.
Yeah.
It's on brand.
We went 2 very different directions with the word Blazers. But yeah, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to blaze it up this weekend on my Nintendo Switch with Cave Blazers. Let's check in with listeners.
Hey, listeners.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Angelo did. He says, OG Scoop listener here, last wrote in 10 years ago.
Holy moly.
Thanks for all your great work over the years. I remember hearing.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, Angela. Yeah.
My girlfriend is a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and like most people, was super disappointed with the Hobbit films. But from that, we were chatting, and she postulated that perhaps Peter Jackson should consider directing a video game. With Tolkien's series, he obviously loves large-scale, long-form fantasy, and she suggested he could make an incredible RPG to really indulge himself. That got us thinking about other film directors who would potentially make great games if they shifted away from movies. I settled on Edgar Wright, as he makes slick, stylish films with action and wit. I would love to see something from him that looks ridiculous and high energy, like Scott Pilgrim and his Cornetto trilogy. Think Persona 5, but more westernized.
Oh.
Which film director would you choose to make a game and why? Spielberg's Boom Blocks doesn't count, he says.
Why?
I think that's a great movie director
But
game.
he didn't make
Took
that
my
game.
idea.
He was a producer on that game.
He showed
Yeah,
up
but like-
once a week.
Well, I think he programmed it.
Yeah, that's probably true. You're right.
Boom Blocks is a great game. I wish they would bring that back somehow.
Put it on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on the Switch.
The only issue with Peter
Switch
Jackson
game.
directing a video game is that video game would then become 3 video games, which would be a bummer. So
You know what's perfect about Peter Jackson though is that he is like Hideo Kojima, where he puts out movies that are so big that they're not cut down at all, and then like he puts out the DVD version, which is not cut down even more.
Right.
And they're just like he's so unedited and loves what he does so
wait,
much.
didn't he already make a game? Peter Jackson's King Kong.
I think he was
movie, the game?
somehow
The movie, the game?
involved
point.
involved in that
Yeah.
in that game. Yeah, and he was going to do something Halo related, right? But then it fell. Or
He was going to
do a
direct the
movie.
Halo movie for a minute, yeah, and then it went to Neil Blomkamp, and then it just fell off forever.
There's sort of a bad history of movie directors trying to get more involved in the video game industry. You have Del Toro, and his
Spielberg with Elemento as well.
Which one?
Elemento, it was a canceled game where you played as like an alien, or it's like
You were escorting an alien
yeah.
girl.
That's what it
And I
was.
think the other thing I remember is that diner key art.
Plus
Yeah.
Jaws.
Jaws.
He did, yeah, that's right.
Jaws 5 for NES.
Canonical.
Both Spielberg and Lucas have been involved because their filmmaking career started right at the sort of beginning of video games. So
Spielberg was really involved in ET, like a lot of
The
involved. He had,
Atari
to, he had
Atari
to
game?
prove it. He had to like he met with Howard Scott Warshaw and said like, this is what I think it should be, and he wanted to do like a Pac-Man game, and Howard Scott Warshaw was like, I can do better than that, and then he made ET, which is probably better than Pac-Man on the Atari. Let's put that out.
better than Pac-Man,
Pac-Man on the Atari. Okay, yeah.
That's true.
That's a good caveat.
And then also, I think George Lucas actually wrote the story for Force Unleashed.
Really?
Yeah.
Way.
Is
At
that
least
true?
He did like the basic like treatment of like this. Who's this? This is
That's
this
the
character.
last good
and-
thing he wrote.
I mean, yeah, probably, yeah.
Debatable.
Do you know that James Gunn wrote Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And for a long time, like you would see James Gunn, especially around the time of the first Guardians. You know how like when you're writing about a director, oftentimes in parentheticals they'll put the name of other notable titles that they've worked on. So it was what was the alien invasion movie that he did? Slither and Lollipop Chainsaw. Like those would show up often like as his credits, and I always thought that was really funny because it was like,
that's weird.
who cares this much about Lollipop Chainsaw? Sorry, I know you're out there. I apologize,
I got one.
Never played it. Yeah.
Wes Anderson,
but it's a visual novel.
but he does Bully.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean,
that's pretty good.
yeah. Yeah, sure. I can see that.
I had forgotten that Del Toro was so wrapped up in PT because that was where my mind
Yeah.
first went. Because like you have to have somebody that if they're going to direct a game, they need to be invested in the medium, and I feel like Del Toro has always been kind of right.
And then what was he had a horror project that, gosh, I can't believe the name's escaping me right now, but something else besides PT as well.
Someone who is invested in the medium is John Carpenter. And he apparently worked on the cinematics for Fear 3.
Cool.
He like helps like
Fear
sort of
had a 3?
Fear had a 3, and John Carpenter worked on it. And there's an interview from 2013 where John Carpenter says he would love to make a Dead Space movie.
Dude,
And John Carpenter is a known gamer. He's talked about how much he plays Destiny.
Yeah.
Dead Space would
Destiny guy.
Dead Space would make for a good movie.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish they'd just make a new Dead Space game.
Yeah, I wish so too. But going back to the original Dead Space, actual just like the horror aspect, less of the action aspect. Yeah. And finally, the Wachowskis actually directed the Enter the Matrix game.
Yeah,
Wow, Enter the Matrix. Yeah. That's a deep cut. Played that on the Nintendo GameCube.
PS2.
Wow. As for directors, obviously it's like it's not like they're not the same skill set. Making a game, making a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
According to Sam, they are.
I don't know what directors would necessarily know about game, designing gameplay mechanics and gameplay loops and player feedback and all that stuff. But I think what's his name, Chad Stahelski, John Wick guy, directed John Wick 1, 2, and now 3. that seems like pretty video game friendly
Yeah. I can
movie
see that.
director. Yeah.
I feel like any of the directors that kind of have like Peter Jackson have like maybe too many yes people around them, like allowing them to make these kind of bloated, not good movies anymore. James Cameron,
Yep.
would do well with a game because you have 90 hours to play with,
Yeah.
you
it's
know, of whatever you want to do instead of having to cram it into 3.5 hours. Of
true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Justin, anyone?
No.
Okay. All right then.
Politely pass.
That means we have time for wacky Mad Libs. On a recent trip home to Kansas, I found this unspoiled book of Mad Libs. I never wrote in it, but it's from 1991.
It was too funny to write in.
It was
That was the golden age of Mad Libs. I've always said that.
That's true. I've heard you say that before.
I've selected one that I thought would be appropriate for a game scoop.
Do you have a pen?
Yeah, I brought a pen.
Okay.
You're gonna spoil it?
I'm gonna write in this. Yeah, we're gonna do this right now. Here's an artifact from my childhood that all of us and everyone out there are gonna participate in.
Okay.
All right, everyone knows how Mad Libs work?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know how ad libs work. What could make them mad?
All right, Justin.
Yeah.
Give me a verb ending in ing.
Playing.
Now don't look.
Seems pretty safe.
Sam, give me a plural noun.
Breeders.
Breeders.
Like the Kim Deal band?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude,
Cool.
I really like the Breeders.
Yeah, they're great.
Zach, give me a number.
6.
Justin, another number.
9.
Yeah, nice.
Sam, an adjective.
Bluish.
I'm sorry?
Bluish.
Bluish. Okay.
See, it's like blue, but has extra letters.
Zach, another adjective.
Round.
Round. Justin, a noun.
Octopus.
Octopus. Zach, or I'm sorry, Sam, articles of clothing.
Do hats count?
Sure.
Funny hats.
Funny hat. No. Okay, funny hats. Sure.
I
will allow
You
it.
can't have the.
Zach, another number.
5.
Just,
Why does Zach get only numbers?
That's really weird.
Justin, a medal.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, everyone knows what my favorite metal is, so that would be too obvious.
Yeah.
Adamantium.
I'll go with that one.
Yeah, we'll do adamantium.
Adamantium.
What the hell's your favorite metal?
We don't need to get into it right now.
Thrash.
Sam, an adjective.
Sticky.
Rotund.
Rotund. Good one. Zach, a plural noun.
A plural.
Sixes.
Dogs.
Justin, an adjective.
Sticky.
Finally got to you, sticky.
Yep. It's got to be in every Mad Lib. It's law.
Sam, a gas.
A noble gas, please.
Okay. How about laughing?
Good. The noblest of gases.
Damon says I'll allow it.
Zach, another gas.
Is neon a gas? Neon's a gas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Can be.
Yeah.
Justin, an adverb.
Swimmingly.
Ooh, good.
Does that actually count as an adverb?
Yeah.
I mean, technically. 'cause
Technically.
It ends in a
And
lot.
finally,
Well, but
That may not actually
yeah.
work.
It's not.
okay,
No,
that
it's
doesn't
not.
count.
No.
Yeah, I guess.
Happily.
No, it is because your day is going swimming.
Swimmingly.
It modifies
This
going.
works. This
Okay.
works.
We'll see.
Finally, Sam, a verb.
Let's just do to eat.
Just eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, this is called the spaceship.
Great.
Oh,
Here we
good.
go.
Okay.
A spaceship is a vehicle used for
Damon is 9 years old.
a spaceship is a vehicle used for playing people between Earth and the distant breeders. A journey usually takes 6 years and can cover 9 miles. The passengers have to enter a
Damon.
David, this is a Damie game.
okay. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Keep it rolling.
Now I'm just laughing because I'm laughing. Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad this never happens during the E3 live show.
We can never play ad libs during the E3
They
live.
put it up on the prompter and Damon just loses it. You got to use that.
Noted.
I don't think we can take over because we can't
It's
read.
so funny. It's not even that funny. Okay. The passengers have to enter a bluish capsule and will exist in a state of round animation.
Good.
When the ship reaches its destination, they will hear an octopus and wake up and put on their funny hats. Then they have to land their 5-ton adamantium vehicle in a rotund atmosphere. They do this by firing retro dogs. And they test the atmosphere on this sticky planet to make sure it contains laughing gas and is not all neon. If it is okay, they can get out of the ship very swimmingly and eat all the inhabitants.
Good.
Wow.
Oof, thanks for playing, everybody.
We have fun.
All right.
Damon, you really lost control on that one. Yeah.
That
Was it the
good.
dogs that got you?
I don't know, man.
Retro dogs.
You know, just the Mad Libs, they're just so wacky.
Retro dogs.
Yeah.
They're so wacky.
It says
Well,
wacky.
this series.
I like that it says wacky Mad Libs, where there's that surely means there's a series of very serious Mad Libs.
Serious Mad Libs, yeah.
All you need to play is a duck and a piece of cheese.
It's true. And that brings us to Video Game 20 questions.
Really? That's
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
That's our show. Our
Slow news week. It's still early in the year.
suggestion this week comes from Luke in West Virginia.
Okay.
So if you're ready to guess, I would understand.
Is the game Mad Libs?
Oh, by the way, before I forget, I apologize last week for forgetting about Team Fortress 2 when we were talking about what was I
Hero
called,
shooters.
Yeah, I called Overwatch
the
sort of the
first hero,
grandfather
yeah.
of the hero shooters, and obviously I love Team Fortress 2, and I am
So-
a big fan of that hat simulator.
But isn't there some question as to whether or not Team Fortress 2 is a hero shooter?
Yeah, I pointed out that Silver Surfer is a hero shooter from much earlier than that.
That's true. That's really true.
Touche.
Anyway,
Okay.
Luke in West Virginia, let the questioning begin.
Okay. Does your character speak in this game?
No.
Could this game have been featured in this 1991 copy of Wacky Mad Libs 7?
No.
Okay. Was it released after January 1st, 2000?
Yes.
Okay.
That would have been incredible, though, if it was in Mad Libs.
That would have been incredible.
We should probably check.
Can we get
Figure it out first.
our fact checkers on that?
Get Scholastic on the phone.
Was this game released after January 1st, 2010?
No.
Okay.
2000's game.
2010. So that's late N64, Dreamcast, PlayStation 2.
Was this released on a compact disc-based medium?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
No.
Ooh.
Dun,
okay.
dun, dun.
Well, but wait, does that include
so it'd be
DVD?
digital, arcade, or cartridge.
But in your mind, that counts DVDs.
Yeah, anything that's on a compact disc.
You would still call those compact discs?
It's a digital versatile disc. Okay.
Wait, and the answer was no.
An optical disc.
It's not on a compact disc.
Okay. So assuming that it's
Hold on.
cartridge based.
This question was this released on a compact
This is
disc?
what I'm clarifying.
Okay.
The answer was no.
No. So it could be.
Was it on a digital
I
versatile
just meant
disc?
an optical disc based medium.
Should I ask that?
That's why I said based medium.
An optical based medium.
I didn't.
This is very clearly not a compact disc.
Okay, that leads me to believe it's a cartridge. Is this on a handheld console?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So 2000s to 2000. That means
Could be the PSP?
PSP,
Probably not.
Game Boy Color,
DS.
or Game Boy Advance DS. Yeah.
Was this a DS game?
No.
Aw.
Okay.
You burnt.
Was this game made in Japan?
Yes.
Okay. Is this game on the Sony PSP?
Yes.
That's 9.
That's 9.
It was not made in Japan?
It was.
It was made in
It
Japan.
was made in Japan.
Was this game... Well, do you think it's useful to ask if it was exclusive to the PSP?
Yes.
Was it exclusive to the PSP?
At the time.
Okay.
That's 10.
Ooh, at the time.
Yeah, that makes it weird, right?
Okay. So what are games that started on the PSP that came to
Patapon.
Patapon, Monster Hunter. Didn't
Loco
Monster
Roco.
Hunter start
Loco
on PS2?
Roco. Man, I love that game.
Does this
Loco
game
Roco's
have
very good.
cartoony graphics?
I don't think you would describe it as cartoony.
Okay. I mean, I could ask about RPGs, but I feel like the PSP was only RPGs and rhythm games.
I really like Metal Gear Acid.
That was very good too.
What's the black and white puzzle game?
Luminous? No, that's not it.
That's a good one we
yeah.
should bring up. But it's
Oh,
like,
okay,
people
I'll
are
ask this.
walking along the edges of things.
Is
But we could just ask if it's a puzzle game.
or if it's a music game, is music like the dominant gameplay mechanic?
Is music the dominant gameplay mechanic? Yes.
Ooh.
Okay. So
Great.
again, that's Loco Roco, Patapon.
But both of those have cartoony graphics.
Yeah. Okay, that's true.
Well, I think Loco does more than Patapon.
I agree with that.
Luminous.
Luminous definitely does.
What's
Luminous,
the one-
Luminous is a very strong.
What's the
candidate for
one
this, by the way.
that was also on 3DS? It starts with an A. Oh God, what's it called?
Is this a puzzle? game?
Medios. That doesn't start with an A, but
I knew I was gonna
yeah.
say Medios.
Yeah.
They made a
this a
Disney
puzzle game?
version.
Is it a puzzle game? Yes.
Okay.
So that I wouldn't call Loco Roco or Patapon that, and they have weird.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's Luminous, but I'm trying to figure out how to
Okay.
narrow it down.
Was this game? What are we at? We can roast one.
13.
Was this game recently released on Switch?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Luminous?
Yes.
Did we get there under 10?
That was 15.
Oh, okay.
Dude, Luminous. Yeah.
Nicely job. 2005.
I bought that game again
Very thanks.
on the Switch. It is.
Yeah, so did I. It's
So-
phenomenal. Yeah,
Still really
I
good.
forgot how
Excellent.
much I loved Luminous.
Yeah. I never had a PSP, but they released it on Xbox Live Arcade. So that's where I first experienced
Okay,
it. And I
cool.
was like, into
Yeah.
it.
I think that's might be the only puzzle game, like pure sort of block clearing puzzle game I like more than Tetris.
Ooh, even Tetris Effect.
Tetris Effect's very good. Luminous, whew, that game, like its ability to sort of get you into like a flow state and like you just turn blinders off to the world and just play is unmatched.
Yeah. Still really, really good.
Yep.
I think Zach and I are going to be playing a lot of Assassin's Creed this weekend.
That's true.
Sam, since you've beaten Red Dead, what's next?
I have some open world stuff to do in the post game, and we just wrote a guide called the Post Game Guide to Red Dead 2. There's lots more to do after you beat the game. If you just ran through the stuff, explain what stuff you can do in the post game as opposed to what stuff you might not be able to do because you beat the game. It's good. I'm gonna actually use that guide and do some fun stuff in it.
Nice.
Cool.
But then I'm gonna move on.
Yesterday in a meeting we were talking about the IGN app and the ability to like bookmark things, and I had not considered that for guides, but I think that's such like a cool thing. Sorry, I know it's a little commercially, but like Pear was showing us that you bookmark different things in the IGN app, and then like if you have 6 or 7 objectives that you're trying to do, like you can just go straight to those wiki pages. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'll probably
in
use
the app
a
it has
lot of
like
that for Odyssey.
like a
this
save
weekend.
state thing where it's like, oh, I need to always use fish hunt, the animals page. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
You just go. Yeah,
That's great.
It's nice.
And Justin, what are you playing this weekend?
So I beat Assassin's Creed
Right.
Odyssey, which it feels like one of those games that never ends, but I counted and there are 11 islands that I never even visited.
Yeah. Cool.
So I still love that game, love Cassandra. I'm not sick of that world yet, so
That's so cool to hear.
Yeah.
I may pop back into it and play some more, or I may go back to Slay the Spire, which is, Damon, you would actually love that.
Which one is that?
It's a card game roguelike, a deck building card game roguelike where everybody starts with like the same 10 cards, but then you buy more each time you reach a shop. And so your deck sort of develops in these different ways and then you use it to fight baddies. And it was in like a fairly complete early access stage for like almost a year. And now it's like the 1.0 version is here for press. And I think it comes out pretty soon in a week or two.
You playing that on Steam?
Steam, yeah, Slay the Spire, and it is great. And that and Assassin's Creed will make for a good weekend. And I'm watching a lot of awesome games done quick.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that going on all weekend?
I don't know when it ends, but it's been going on all week, and the VODs are going up online on YouTube and
And
stuff.
we're gonna play some more Bigfoot.
Oh, dude.
And I mean, think about how much time, now that you've beaten Red Dead, how much time you have to play Skater XL.
I don't want to talk about it.
All right, that is all the scoops that we have for you this week. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Zach. My name is Damon. This is IGN Gamescoop, and we're out.
You're welcome.